My name is Elena Marlowe. I was 29 years old when I learned that humiliation does not always explode. Sometimes it waits. Sometimes it smiles across a room full of guests. Sometimes it wears the suit you paid to dry clean, drinks champagne from your glasses, and thanks everyone except you. My phone lit up in the cup holder. Kelsey. I stared at her name for a few seconds before picking it up. Her message said, "You know what he said after you left?" My thumb hovered over the screen. I typed back, "What?" 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then came back. Then her next message landed. He said, "Good, now I don't have to break up with her before the trip to Monaco. Vanessa's going to be so much easier to deal with." For a moment, I did not breathe. Not because I was shocked. I think part of me had already known. The body always knows before the mind is brave enough to admit it. My hands went cold. I read the message once, then again. Then a third time, slower, like maybe the words would rearrange themselves into something less ugly. They did not. Then Kelsey sent the screenshot. Carter's actual message in a group chat. Word for word. Time-stamped 30 minutes after I had walked out of my own apartment. 30 minutes after his birthday party collapsed. 30 minutes after he stood in front of 30 people and told me I would never be good enough for him. I sat there until my phone screen went dark. Then I started the car and drove to the 24-hour copy center downtown. But before I get to that, I need to explain what happened earlier that night. Because Carter Vale did not destroy us with one sentence. He had been building toward it for months. I just did not want to see the architecture. That afternoon, I left work early and went straight home to prepare for his 30th birthday party. Our apartment was not huge, but Carter wanted it to feel elevated. That was his word, elevated. He had sent me a list 2 weeks earlier with decorations, lighting, food, drinks, ice, backup ice, cocktail garnishes, playlists, and a seating layout like we were hosting a political fundraiser instead of a birthday party. 30 people were coming. Co-workers from the medical device company where he worked as a regional manager, friends from college, people from his industry, a few people I had never met but whose names he mentioned with the careful tone people use when they are trying to climb. I moved furniture. I wiped counters. I set up the drinks table. I hung warm lights across the balcony because Carter said overhead lighting made everyone look tired and poor. I spent $230 on decorations. Then another $300 on food and drinks because Carter had chosen everything himself and used my credit card the way he always did when something was for us. By 6 o'clock, my feet hurt and my hair was falling out of its clip, but the apartment looked beautiful. Candles on the shelves. Glassware lined up by height. Music low. City lights turning gold through the balcony doors. I remember standing in the middle of the living room, thinking maybe he would smile when he walked in. Maybe he would notice. Maybe he would say thank you. Carter came home at 6:08. He stepped inside wearing his navy work suit, loosened his tie, and scanned the room like he was inspecting a hotel suite. His eyes moved from the drinks table to the lights to the speaker. He did not smile. "The speaker needs to be louder," he said. I blinked. "Hi to you too." He ignored that. "And these lights are too warm. They make the room look yellow. They're the ones you sent me." "I sent options, Elena. You picked the worst one." I swallowed. He walked to the kitchen and opened the fridge. "Where's the cheese?" "In the middle drawer." "No, the other cheese." I already knew what he meant. The $70 block from the specialty store across town. The store had regular brie and aged Gouda, I said. I thought that would be enough. He looked at me like I had embarrassed him in front of people who were not even there yet. "It's my 30th birthday." That was all he said. No yelling. No direct demand. Just that calm, entitled little sentence that made refusal feel like a crime. So I grabbed my keys and went back out. The cheese was $70. The crackers beside it were $13. By the time I returned, Carter was in the bedroom getting ready. I set the bag on the counter and saw the gift I had wrapped for him sitting beside the sink. White paper. Simple black ribbon. Small box. He came out at 7, wearing the charcoal shirt I had bought him the month before. He had told me he needed it for a work dinner. It cost $450 because he said cheap fabric made him look junior. Looking at him in it now, I wondered if Vanessa Greer had already seen it. His eyes landed on the gift. "What's this?" "Your present," I said. "I figured you might want to open it before people got here." He picked it up and weighed it in his palm. "Is this jewelry?" "Open it." He tore the paper carefully, not because he cared, but because he hated mess. Inside was a silver watch charm, small and engraved, made to attach to the band of the watch his grandmother had left him. 6 months earlier, after too much wine and one rare honest night, Carter had told me she used to wear a tiny silver charm on her bracelet. He said he could still hear it clicking against her kitchen table when she played cards. I had remembered. It took me 3 weeks to find a jeweler who could make something close. Carter looked at it, then at me. "This is cute." "Cute." The word landed softly. That made it worse. Cute like a child's drawing taped to a refrigerator. Cute like something you thank someone for before putting it in a drawer forever. He turned it between 2 fingers. "Not really Monaco energy though, is it?" My chest tightened. "What does that mean?" He smiled without looking at me. "Nothing. It's nice." He set the box down on the counter. He did not put it on. Then he walked back into the bedroom to fix his hair. I stood there, staring at the charm in the open box, surrounded by food I had paid for, decorations I had hung, and silence I had earned by swallowing everything I wanted to say. People started arriving at 7:30. I became the version of myself Carter liked best in public. Helpful. Polite. Invisible. I took coats, filled glasses, introduced myself to strangers who already knew my apartment but not my name. Carter moved through the room like a man accepting tribute. He laughed louder than usual. He touched shoulders. He said things like, "We're keeping it intimate tonight," while standing in a room packed so tightly people had to turn sideways to reach the balcony. Then Vanessa Greer arrived at 8:15. I knew who she was before Carter said her name. Some people enter a room asking for attention. Vanessa entered, expecting it. She was 42, tall, sleek, wearing a white blazer over a black dress, her hair pulled back like even loose strands knew better than to disobey her. She was Carter's boss's boss, director of sales, divorced, famously sharp, and, according to one awkward comment Carter had made months earlier, his ex-girlfriend from before my time. He had told me it was nothing. Ancient history. Professional now. I had believed him because believing him was easier than respecting the feeling in my stomach. Vanessa did not introduce herself to me. She walked straight to Carter. Kissed him on the cheek. Too long. Too familiar. Her hand stayed on his arm when she pulled back. "Birthday boy," she said. Carter laughed. Not his real laugh. His performance laugh. The one he saved for people he wanted to impress. Vanessa handed him a gift bag. He opened it and pulled out a bottle of champagne with an expensive label, the kind people photograph before drinking. "For what's coming," Vanessa said. Carter looked at her. A private look. Then he smiled. "You're too good to me." I was standing 3 feet away, holding an empty ice bucket. Neither of them looked at me. Around 9, I went into the kitchen to refill the ice. The party was loud by then. Music, laughter, glasses clinking, people spilling out onto the balcony. I bent down to pull the ice bag from the freezer when Carter's voice cut through the glass door. Honestly, I don't know why I'm still with her. I froze. The ice bag slipped in my hands. I could see him through the balcony door. Carter stood near the railing with Vanessa and 3 coworkers. Vanessa was close beside him, one hand resting lightly on the rail near his. Almost touching. Not touching enough to accuse, close enough to understand. A woman in a red dress said, "Elena seems sweet, though." Carter laughed. Not kindly. Sweet doesn't pay for Monaco. My lungs stopped working. "Sweet doesn't get you into rooms that actually matter," he continued. "I need someone who matches my energy, someone who's going somewhere." Vanessa smiled. Then she placed her hand on the small of his back. Left it there. "You deserve someone on your level," she said. The ice bag was leaking onto my shoes. Cold water spread across the kitchen floor. Then Carter turned and saw me through the glass. For 1 second, we just looked at each other. He did not look ashamed. He looked annoyed that I had heard. I opened the balcony door and stepped outside. The air was cold. The city hummed below us. 4 faces turned toward me. I set the ice bucket down on the table. Carter crossed his arms. "Elena, can you check on the drinks inside?" His voice sharpened. "These are work people." I looked at him, then at Vanessa's hand, still on his back, then back at him. "No." His eyebrows lifted. "Excuse me? You heard me." His face changed. That quick flash of anger he usually hid before anyone else could see it. He stepped closer and lowered his voice. "But not enough. You're embarrassing me. Go inside." I stayed exactly where I was. "Say what you just said again." His mouth tightened. "What?" "What about Sweet not paying for Monaco?" I said. "Say it again. Louder this time." Vanessa's hand dropped from his back. The woman in red looked down into her glass. Carter's eyes went wide for half a second. Then he recovered. And that was the moment I understood. He did not feel guilty. He felt challenged. So he raised his voice. Loud enough for the balcony. Loud enough for the living room. Loud enough for every person I had welcomed into my home. "You'll never be good enough for me." The party stopped in layers. First the balcony. Then the people nearest the door. Then the whole room behind us. The music kept playing, bright and stupid, while 30 people stared at me. I smiled. Not because anything was funny. Because if I did not smile, something inside me was going to break in public, and I refused to give him that, too. "Maybe you're right," I said. Then I walked inside. Not fast. Not shaking. Not crying. I walked to the speaker and turned it off. The apartment went silent. 30 people looked at me. I opened the front door. "Party's over," I said. "Everyone out." A few people laughed nervously. I did not move. "Now." Carter came in from the balcony, face red. "What are you doing?" "Ending your party. This is my birthday. And this is my apartment." His voice cracked. "We live here together. The lease is in my name. I pay most of the rent. Everyone leaves now." People started grabbing coats. No one wanted to be there anymore. That was the thing about public cruelty. Everyone enjoyed the tension until they realized they might become witnesses. Vanessa was one of the last to leave. She stopped in front of me, smoothing her white blazer. "You're making a mistake." I looked at her. "You should leave." Her jaw tightened. "You'll be hearing from my lawyer." "You'll be hearing from mine first." I did not have one yet, but she did not know that. And I needed her to believe I did. It took 20 minutes for the apartment to empty. I stood by the door the entire time. Carter stared at me like I had stolen something from him. Not love. Not trust. Control. When the last guest left, only Chris and Amy remained. Chris had been my friend since college. Amy, his girlfriend, stood beside him with her phone already in her hand. Chris walked toward me carefully. "You good?" "No," I said. "Stay 5 minutes." "For what?" "I need witnesses." Carter slammed the balcony door. "What the hell was that?" he snapped. I turned to him. "Pack a bag." His expression twisted. "What?" "You're leaving tonight. This is my home." "No," I said. "This is the apartment I pay for while you spend shared money on your affair." His eyes flicked to Chris and Amy. Immediately, his voice softened. "You're seriously going to let her do this to me?" Chris shrugged. "We're just here to witness." Amy looked up from her phone. "Time is 9:58 p.m. Elena has asked Carter to leave peacefully." Carter stared at her. "Are you recording me?" "Now I am," Amy said. His face went pale. I looked him dead in the eyes. "Pack a bag. You have 30 minutes. He tried one last time. "You're overreacting. I was drunk. You had 1 glass of champagne." "I didn't mean it." "Which part?" I asked. "That I'll never be good enough? or that sweet doesn't pay for Monaco. The color drained from his face. Who told you about Monaco? I pulled out my phone and opened our shared calendar. The entry was right there. 3 weeks old. Monaco getaway. Not conference. Not client summit. Not work trip. Getaway. Carter stared at it. For once, he had no sentence ready. Pack, I said. He stood there for another second, breathing hard. Then he went into the bedroom. 17 minutes later, he came out with 2 bags, his laptop, a jacket, and the expression of a man already planning how to rewrite the story. At the door, he stopped. This isn't over. I held the door open wider. Yes, I said. It is. He left. The door slammed behind him. The apartment trembled. For a few seconds, nobody spoke. Then Chris said, "You need anything?" "A locksmith," I said. "And whatever Amy recorded." Amy nodded. "Already sending it." I looked around the apartment. The candles still burned. The glasses still sat half full. The silver charm was still in its box on the counter. Carter's birthday cake had not been cut. Everything looked exactly like a party, except it felt like a crime scene. Chris stayed behind to wait for the locksmith. I did not want Carter coming back with his key before sunrise and deciding the apartment was still his because his name had once been written on a few utility bills. Amy sent me the video before I even reached the elevator. I watched 6 seconds of it in the hallway, then stopped. Not because it was unclear. Because it was too clear. Carter's voice. My voice. His face changing when he realized he had been caught. The timestamp. The witnesses. The moment he understood that charm and apologies and soft words would not save him anymore. I forwarded the file to myself, saved it twice, then walked outside into the cold. The city looked almost normal. That offended me. People were still laughing outside bars. Cars still rolled through traffic lights. Somewhere, across the street, a couple stood under an awning sharing fries from a paper bag. My life had just split open, and the world had the nerve to keep moving. I got into my car and drove downtown. The copy center was still open, glowing white and ugly at the corner of a mostly empty block. Inside, there was one clerk behind the counter and a man printing flyers near the self-service machines. I rented the small office space in the back for an overnight block. Then I locked the door, opened my laptop, and started building the story Carter did not know I could prove. First, Kelsey's screenshot. The group chat message. Good. Now I don't have to break up with her before the trip to Monaco. Vanessa's going to be so much easier to deal with. I printed 5 copies. Then I logged into our shared cloud account. Carter had always been careless with convenience. He liked shared calendars, shared albums, shared passwords, shared money. He liked access when it benefited him and privacy when it protected him. The travel folder was not even hidden. 43 photos. Carter and Vanessa in hotel lobbies, airport lounges, restaurants, conference rooftops, 2 different cities, 11 months of smiles that were too close to be professional. In one picture, Vanessa's hand was on his tie. In another, Carter was wearing the charcoal shirt I had bought. I printed everything. Then came the bank statements. 24 months. Rent payments. Utilities. Groceries. Credit card bills. I created a spreadsheet showing my contributions against his. I paid 70% of the rent because Carter kept saying his commissions came in waves. I covered the bigger bills because he said he was investing in his future. I paid for dinners because he said image mattered. By 3:12 a.m., the total stared back at me. I had paid $28,400 more than he had. Then I opened the shared credit card statements. Hotels. Flights. Dinners. Rideshares. Boutique purchases. Charges in cities Carter had claimed were work obligations. I filtered, totaled, cross-checked dates against the photos. $8,200 of shared money tied to trips and nights with Vanessa. The printer kept spitting out pages. Hot paper. Black ink. Proof. By 4 in the morning, I had 3 binders. One for the affair, one for the money, one for the party and immediate aftermath. I labeled every tab because I knew Carter. He would not simply say he was sorry. He would try to bury me under a cleaner version of himself. I left the copy center with the binders in a cardboard box and stored them in my trunk beneath an old gym bag. My laptop went with me. My backup drive went into the glove compartment. Anything Carter might try to delete, alter, or touch was no longer inside the apartment. I slept for maybe 2 hours in my car outside a quiet diner. Then, the calls began. At 7:06 a.m., I called the building manager. "Do your cameras cover the hallway outside my unit?" "They do," she said. "Why?" "I need footage from last night, 8 p.m. to midnight. My boyfriend was asked to leave after an incident at a party. He left peacefully, and I need documentation." There was a pause. "Export fee is $50. Do it." "I can have it ready by 10. "Thank you." At 7:30, I called work. I was a commercial insurance adjuster for a regional firm. It was not glamorous work, but it had trained me to love documentation more than emotion. Claims taught you one thing very quickly. The person with the cleanest timeline usually survived the mess. My supervisor, Martin, answered on the second ring. "Elena, everything okay? I need to brief you on a personal situation that might affect work." His voice changed. "What happened?" "I ended a 4-year relationship last night. It was my boyfriend's birthday party. He humiliated me in front of guests. I asked him to leave, and he left peacefully. I documented it. I'm telling you because there's a chance he may retaliate by contacting the company." "What kind of retaliation?" "False allegations. He works in medical device sales. He knows how to shape a story." Martin was quiet for a second. "You think he'd do that?" "I think someone who tells his girlfriend she'll never be good enough in front of 30 people might not handle consequences gracefully." "Fair point," he said. "Send me a written summary. I'll forward it to HR and keep an eye out. I'm getting a lawyer today." "Good. Keep everything clean." That word stayed with me. Clean. That became the rule. No screaming. No revenge posts. No drunk texts. No showing up. No emotional speeches. Carter could have chaos. I would have records. At 8:03, I called Chris. "I need a lawyer." "I already texted you one," he said. "Howard Bennett. Family law, civil litigation, employment disputes. He helped my cousin when her ex tried to ruin her business." "Can he see me today?" I told him it was urgent. Call now. Howard's assistant gave me a 10 o'clock appointment. At 9:45, I picked up the USB from the building office. The hallway footage showed everything. Carter arriving before the party. Guests coming in. Guests leaving between 9:20 and 9:45. Carter leaving at 10:17 with 2 bags. No police. No violence. No chase. No drama. Just a man walking out after being asked to leave. I added it to the box. Howard Bennett's office was on the 6th floor of a brick building with old elevators and expensive silence. He was around 60, gray-haired, sharp-eyed, with the expression of a man who had watched too many people confuse feelings with evidence. He looked mildly bored when I sat down. Then I opened the first binder. By the time I reached the credit card charges, he was no longer bored. He took off his glasses. "This is fraud adjacent at minimum. Can I prove it?" He tapped the spreadsheet. "You already started proving it. Shared funds used for personal expenses connected to an undisclosed affair. Hotels, travel, meals. The question is how aggressively we frame it. What about Vanessa? Does his company have a fraternization policy? I don't know. Find out today. If she's in his reporting chain, that becomes their problem." I showed him Amy's video. Then the hallway footage. Then Kelsey's screenshot. Howard leaned back. "You did this exactly right." "I don't feel like I did anything right." "That's because you're still hurt. Hurt people usually react first and document later. You documented while you were still cold. That matters." Cold. I almost laughed. Nothing inside me felt cold. Everything felt burned down. "What happens now?" I asked. "Now you wait. He will contact you. He will threaten, apologize, accuse, bargain, maybe send family. Do not engage. Screenshot everything. Save voicemails. If he comes to your home or workplace, we escalate. If he lies publicly, we evaluate defamation. If there is company misconduct, we decide whether to provide evidence. He's going to rewrite it. Howard nodded. Let him. People who rewrite stories usually leave drafts. I left his office with instructions, and one sentence underlined in my mind. Do not engage. At noon, Carter started texting. First, I can't believe you did that to me on my birthday. Then, you embarrassed me in front of my entire professional network. Then, you're unstable. Then, I was drunk and you took advantage of the moment. Then, we need to talk like adults. Then, you owe me an apology. Then, if you try to spread lies about me and Vanessa, I'll make sure everyone knows what you're really like. I did not answer. I screenshotted everything. Saved each image by date and time. Forwarded the batch to Howard. His reply came 10 minutes later. Good. Continue not responding. Let him build the file. That afternoon, I found the company handbook on Carter's employer website. 64 pages. Public download. The fraternization section was on page 47. No romantic or sexual relationships between supervisors and subordinates within the same reporting structure. Both parties subject to termination. Zero tolerance for undisclosed conflicts of interest involving expenses, promotions, or sales assignments. Vanessa Greer was director of sales. Carter reported to the VP of sales. The VP reported to Vanessa. Direct chain. I sent the page to Howard. He replied, Perfect. Keep this. Do nothing yet. By day 2, Carter showed up at the building. Security called me first. Carter Vale is in the lobby. Says he needs to get his belongings. I packed the rest of his things yesterday and left them with you. Yes, 3 boxes, logged and dated. Tell him they're there. He can show ID, sign, and take them. He is not allowed upstairs. 10 minutes later, there was pounding on my door. Elena, open the door. I stood in the hallway inside my apartment, barefoot, phone in hand. The new lock held. Elena, I know you're in there. I called Chris. You free for 20 minutes? What happened? He's at my door. I'm coming. I did not open it. I listened to Carter pound, then lower his voice, then pound again. He tried angry first, then wounded, then calm, then angry again. That was Carter's whole personality when control slipped. A rotating menu. 8 minutes later, Chris knocked. Elena, it's me. I opened the door enough for Chris to step inside. Carter tried to push forward. Chris blocked him with one arm and pulled out his phone. No. Carter glared. This is between me and my girlfriend. Ex-girlfriend, I said from inside. His eyes snapped to me. You don't get to decide that in one night. I already did. Chris held up his phone. This is the second time in 2 days you've been asked to leave. Your belongings are with security. You need to leave this hallway. Carter's face tightened. You're recording me? Yes. He looked past Chris at me. Elena, tell your little guard dog to move. No. We need to talk. No, we don't. Anything you need to say can go in writing. His jaw flexed. You're going to regret this. Chris said. That sounded like a threat. Carter looked at the phone, then at me. For a second, I saw the calculation behind his eyes. He wanted a scene. He wanted me crying, shouting, grabbing, begging. He wanted footage he could use. Instead, I stood still. So he left. Chris came inside after the elevator doors closed. He's escalating. I know. You need to file something. Howard says to build the case first. How much more do you need? I looked at the door. He'll give me more. That night, Carter's mother called. I did not answer. She left 2 voicemails. The first demanded that I apologize to her son for humiliating him during a vulnerable moment. The second was softer, almost businesslike. She said the family was willing to discuss financial consideration if I agreed not to damage Carter's reputation or career. I saved both. Sent them to Howard. His reply, do not engage. The offer of money for silence helps us. It suggests they know exposure is a risk. Day 4. Carter went public. A long post. Polished.
Emotional.
Vague enough to sound dignified, specific enough to poison anyone who knew us. He wrote about finally escaping a toxic relationship. He wrote about financial control.
Isolation. Emotional manipulation.
How hard it was for men to admit they had been abused by women. How he had stayed because he was afraid of what I would do if he left. He did not name me. He did not have to. Within minutes, mutual friends were texting. Are you okay? Is this about you? What happened? I had no idea things were that bad. I archived the post and sent it to Howard. He called me this time. This is useful. How is this useful? He's calling me abusive. He made public false claims. If we can prove they're false, and we can, this is defamation territory. Do not respond. Get screenshots of every message he sends people. I texted Kelsey. Is Carter messaging people about me? She replied almost immediately. Yes, everyone from the party. Same story. You controlled money, isolated him, threatened him when he tried to leave. Can you send screenshots? Already saved them. Sending now. 6 images came through. Carter telling people I managed all the finances, so he could not leave. Carter saying I scared him. Carter saying I had snapped at the party. Carter saying Vanessa helped him realize he deserved better. That last sentence made my stomach turn. Not because of Vanessa. Because of the wording. Helped him realize. Like betrayal was therapy. Kelsey sent one more message. He knows I sent you the Monaco screenshot. He cut me off, told everyone I betrayed him. I typed back, I'm sorry. Her reply came fast. Don't be. I didn't lose friends. I identified them. I sent everything to Howard. His response? Excellent. Pattern forming. 2 days later, the pattern became a door opening. My phone rang from a number I did not recognize. A woman introduced herself as Patricia from HR at Carter's company. Her voice was professional, in the way people sound when every word is being measured. We understand you may have information relevant to an ongoing internal investigation involving 2 of our employees. I sat up slowly. What investigation? I can't disclose specifics, but we received reports of potential policy violations. What kind of information are you asking for? Evidence of an inappropriate relationship between a supervisor and subordinate. Possible expense irregularities. Possible misuse of company resources. I looked at the 3 binders on my kitchen table. What are you offering? Confidentiality. Protection of your identity as much as possible. Information used for internal investigation only. I want that in writing. I can send a confidentiality agreement within the hour. Send it to me. My attorney will review it. 40 minutes later, the agreement arrived. Howard reviewed it, made 2 changes, and sent it back. Patricia accepted. I signed. Then I compiled the file. Photos.
Timeline.
Expense records.
Company policy.
Proof of Vanessa's position. Proof of Carter's messages about Monaco. I uploaded everything to the secure link Patricia provided. 2 hours later, she replied. Thank you. This has been forwarded to the investigation team. 5 days passed. Then Kelsey texted me. They're both fired. I stared at the screen. What? Carter and Vanessa. HR wrapped yesterday. Policy violations and expense fraud. Both terminated effective immediately. Vanessa tried to fight it. Carter cried. Security walked them out. I sat down on the couch. The apartment was quiet. The charm box was still in a drawer because I had not known what to do with it yet. I should have felt satisfaction. Instead, I felt the air change. Because men like Carter did not lose quietly. And now he had lost everything he valued. By sunset, his new post went up. He was not just escaping me anymore. Now he was a victim of workplace retaliation. Punished for speaking out. Destroyed by a vindictive ex-girlfriend. Forced out because powerful women were never believed when men cried. He had twisted the story again. Only this time, he was desperate. And desperate people made mistakes. Carter's second public post was longer than the first. That was how I knew he was panicking. People who are telling the truth usually get simpler when pressure rises. Liars get decorative. He wrote about betrayal, about corporate politics, about how dangerous it was when a woman with resources and rage decided to punish a man for leaving her. He said he had been silenced. He said he had lost his career because I had manufactured a story and sent it to people who wanted an excuse to destroy him. Then Vanessa commented beneath it, "Proud of you for speaking your truth. Some people weaponize systems because they can't handle being left." I screenshotted it, forwarded it to Howard. His reply came back almost immediately. "Save everything. Do not respond. They're coordinating in public now." That night, Vanessa called me from a blocked number. I did not answer. She left a voicemail. Her voice was lower than I remembered from the party, stripped of champagne and confidence. "You have no idea who you're dealing with, Elena. You think you won because you sent some little folder to HR? Careers recover. Reputations don't. I know lawyers. I know people. Be smart and drop whatever you're planning." I listened to it once, then saved it. An hour later, Carter texted from an unknown number, "You ruined my life. I hope you're proud." Then, "Vanessa didn't deserve this." Then, "If you think this ends here, you're delusional." I did not answer. Screenshot.
Folder.
Howard. At 6:15 the next morning, building security called. The sound of my phone vibrating on the nightstand pulled me out of the only real sleep I had managed in days. "This is Mark at front desk. Someone's in the lobby asking for you." My stomach tightened. "Who?" "She won't give a name. Says she needs to deliver legal documents." "She?" "Tall woman, dark coat. Says it's confidential." I sat up. "Is she a process server?" "No badge, no company ID. Just keep saying she needs to hand them directly to you. Tell her she can leave them with security or leave the property. If she refuses, call the police." "Got it." 10 minutes later, Mark called back. She refused to leave anything. Police showed up and she left before they talked to her. "Did you get a photo?" "Security camera did. I also got her license plate." "Send both." The photo came through. Vanessa Greer, in my building lobby at 6 in the morning, wearing a camel coat and sunglasses like intimidation, was just another business meeting. I forwarded it to Howard. This time, he called. "That's enough." "For what?" "Protective order. We have Carter's threats, Vanessa's voicemail, her showing up at your building, Carter's repeated contact from unknown numbers, the hallway incident, the public defamation. I'll file today." "Against both of them?" "Yes." By 2 in the afternoon, Howard filed the application. By 5, the emergency ex parte order was granted. Carter Vale and Vanessa Greer were ordered to have no contact with me, no direct or indirect communication, no physical proximity within 500 feet, no workplace contact, no residential contact. Violation meant immediate arrest. The process server delivered copies to both of them the next day. For one quiet evening, my phone stopped shaking. I made tea. I sat on the kitchen floor, because the couch still smelled faintly like Carter's cologne. I thought silence might finally arrive. It did not. Carter moved from public posts to private infection. He messaged people one by one. Friends. Former coworkers. My cousin. People who had not spoken to either of us in years. His story became more polished each time. I controlled the finances. I isolated him. I threatened him when he tried to leave. I had always been jealous of Vanessa. I had ruined his job because I could not compete with a successful woman. That line almost made me laugh. Almost. Then the anonymous email started at work. Martin called me into his office on a Wednesday morning. He looked uncomfortable, which told me the meeting was not about claims, clients, or the regional promotion I had been trying not to think about. "Close the door," he said. I did. He turned his monitor slightly. "We received some concerning emails over the weekend." "About me?" "Yes. 3 messages. 3 different throwaway accounts. Same structure. Elena Marlowe is unstable. Elena Marlowe abused her boyfriend. Elena Marlowe uses her job to intimidate people. Your company should know who it employs. One email included a photo from Carter's birthday party. Me standing by the open door. The angle made me look cold. It left out Carter's face. It left out what he had said. It left out the entire reason the room had gone silent. I reached into my bag, pulled out a folder, and placed it on Martin's desk. I warned you this might happen. He looked at me, then at the folder. I know. I found your email. Inside were copies of Howard's letter, the temporary protective order, the timeline, Carter's public posts, and screenshots of the threats. Martin read quietly, then leaned back. You came prepared. I had to. I'm sending these emails to HR and forwarding originals to your attorney. You're not in trouble. I exhaled for the first time since entering the room. I just don't want this affecting my work. It won't, he said. Honestly, Elena, the way you've handled this is exactly why I recommended you for the senior adjuster position. I stared at him. You still did? I recommended you before all this. I'm not withdrawing it because your ex-boyfriend is trying to run a smear campaign. The HR meeting happened the next morning. The director, Marissa, sat across from me with Martin beside her. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were sharp. We reviewed the emails, your prior notice, and the documents from your attorney, she said. Our position is clear. These allegations appear to be part of a personal dispute, and you notified us before they arrived. I nodded. If any further communication comes in, forward it to me and to Mr. Bennett. We'll preserve the originals. We'll also note in your file that the matter was reviewed and found unsupported. Thank you. One more thing, she said. I braced. The senior adjuster interview is still scheduled for Monday. We expect you there. For a second, I could not speak. Carter had tried to poison my job. Instead, he had given them a live demonstration of why I was good at surviving pressure. Monday came. I wore a navy blouse, black trousers, and the earrings my mother had given me when I graduated college. Small silver hoops. Nothing dramatic. Something steady. The interview lasted 40 minutes. I answered questions about conflict, documentation, field decision-making, leadership under pressure. I did not mention Carter. I did not have to. 2 days later, Martin called me into his office again. This time, he was smiling. You got it. I blinked. The position? The position. 15,000 more a year, company car, regional caseload, team oversight. Effective in 2 weeks. I should have cried. Instead, I laughed. Once. Quietly. Because the universe had a strange sense of timing. That evening, Kelsey sent the message that changed the whole case. You need to see this. Then came the screenshots. A group chat. Carter and 4 of his friends. Dated the morning after the birthday party. Before his first public post. Before the work emails. Before the sympathy campaign. Carter's message was at the top. Okay, here's what we're doing. If anyone asks about Elena, use this script. Say she was controlling. Say she managed the money so I couldn't leave. Say she isolated me from friends. Make it consistent. Make it believable. If enough people say the same thing, they'll believe it. Another message. Post supportive comments. Share my post. Make her look unstable if she responds. Another. If she tries to defend herself, call it manipulation. Say she's gaslighting. Don't let her control the story. I sat at my kitchen table with my phone in my hand and felt something inside me go very still. Not numb. Not shocked. Still. Because this was not emotion anymore. This was proof. I forwarded everything to Howard. He called within 3 minutes. This is the smoking gun. I thought the company file was. No, that proved the affair and misconduct. This proves malicious coordination. He instructed people to lie. He planned the defamation campaign. He told them what false allegations to repeat. What happens now? We file. The lawsuit? Full complaint. Defamation, intentional interference with employment, harassment, conspiracy to defame. We name Carter. We include the coordinated campaign. We include the work emails, the public posts, the private messages, the protective order violations. Can we prove damages? He tried to damage your employment. and we have your company's documentation. That's enough to proceed. The promotion actually helps us because your employer can confirm the allegations were disruptive and required investigation. The complaint was filed Thursday morning. Carter was served Friday afternoon at his parents' house. By Friday evening, my phone looked like a crime scene. 7 missed calls from unknown numbers. 3 voicemails. 5 texts. All from different numbers. You're suing me? Are you insane? Call me now. You're going to regret dragging me through court. I'll tell everyone what you really are. Each one went into the folder. Each one went to Howard. Each number got blocked. Then Carter tried a different tactic. Saturday morning, I went grocery shopping. I picked the store across town on purpose. Not the one near our old apartment. Not the one near Carter's parents' house. Not the one near my office. Just a clean store with 2 bright lights and vegetables misted every 5 minutes. I was standing near the produce section holding a bag of lemons when I heard my name. Elena. My whole body knew before I turned around. Carter stood at the end of the aisle. Phone in his hand. Camera pointed at me. He looked thinner, but not broken. Not yet. His hair was carefully styled. His jacket was too expensive for someone unemployed, which meant either Vanessa had bought it or his mother had. Don't walk away, he said. I put the lemons down. You're violating a protective order. I just want to talk. You are not allowed to contact me. He stepped closer. Why are you being so cruel? I lost everything. I could see it immediately. The setup. The camera. The soft voice. The public location. He wanted footage of himself looking calm while I looked angry. He wanted the clip that proved his story. So I pulled out my own phone and started recording. My name is Elena Marlowe, I said clearly. I am at Greenway Market on Saturday at 10:42 a.m. Carter Vale is approaching me and recording me in violation of a protective order. I am leaving now. Do not follow me. His expression flickered. The mask cracked for half a second. You always do this, he said, louder now. You make everything legal because you can't have a normal conversation. I walked away. Left my cart. Left the lemons. Left the whole staged scene behind. In the parking lot, I locked myself in my car and called the police. I need to report a protective order violation. I gave them the case number, the location, the description, my video, Carter's phone in his hand, his approach, his refusal to leave me alone. The police went to his parents' house that afternoon. Kelsey texted me before anyone official did. He got arrested. 6 hours in custody. His mother bailed him out. Howard filed a motion for contempt. The judge fined Carter $2,000 and warned him that another violation meant jail time. After that, Carter finally went quiet. Not because he was sorry, because silence was cheaper than handcuffs. But discovery was coming. And discovery is where lies go to suffocate. Howard requested everything. Financial records, communication logs, social media records, witness lists, the group chat, messages with Vanessa, messages to friends, emails connected to the anonymous accounts. Carter's lawyer responded with a motion to dismiss. Howard sent me a copy. It argued Carter's statements were opinions, that I could not prove damages, that he was expressing his personal truth, that the lawsuit was an attempt to silence a survivor. I read that phrase 3 times. A survivor. Carter had taken a word meant for people crawling out of real darkness and used it as wallpaper for his revenge. The judge denied the motion. The case would proceed. Mediation was scheduled for a Wednesday at 2 p.m.
Downtown office building.
Neutral mediator.
Separate rooms.
Howard told me not to expect an apology. I don't, I said. Good. What should I expect? A performance, then panic. He was right. Carter arrived wearing a gray sweater and jeans, looking thinner than I remembered. Hair less perfect, face drawn tight around the eyes. His lawyer was a nervous man with a briefcase that looked too new. Vanessa was not there. That surprised me less than it should have. People like Vanessa stayed close when there was champagne, and distance when there were consequences. Carter saw me across the lobby. For 1 second, his face changed. Not regret. Recognition. He knew I had come with everything. Howard and I entered our room. 3 binders on the table. The original evidence from the copy center. The new evidence. The legal filings. The protective order. The HR documents. The work emails. The grocery store video. The group chat coordination. Every lie Carter told had its own tab now. 30 minutes later, the mediator came in with Carter's first offer. He is willing to remove the posts and publish a general apology if you dismiss the lawsuit. Howard did not even look at me. He slid our settlement demand across the table. This is our offer. All terms, non-negotiable. The mediator read the first page. Then the second. His eyebrows lifted. This is extensive, Howard said. He coordinated a malicious defamation campaign, attempted to damage her employment, violated a protective order, and used shared funds connected to an affair. This is generous compared to what a jury may award. The mediator left. 1 hour passed. Then another. I sat by the window, watching people move like dots on the sidewalk below. Howard reviewed emails. I watched the city and thought about the party. The ice melting on my shoes. The charm in the box. Carter's voice saying I would never be good enough. Funny how people who call you small always panic when you stop shrinking. The mediator returned. He's agreed. Howard's expression did not change. To all terms? All terms. The settlement agreement was 9 pages. Single-spaced. Every word already prepared. Carter would post a public retraction on every platform where he had spread the allegations. The retraction would stay pinned for 60 days. He would send individual written retractions to 15 people he had messaged directly. He would pay $18,000 in damages. $750 a month for 24 months. First payment due in 10 days. He would pay my attorney fees. $6,300 due within 30 days. He would sign a non-disparagement agreement. Any future false statement would trigger a $10,000 penalty per violation and reinstatement of the lawsuit. The protective order would remain in place. No contact. No messages. No indirect communication. No accidental appearances. Proof of retractions required within 72 hours. Miss one payment and the full balance became due immediately with interest. The mediator took it back to Carter's room. Another hour. When he returned, the agreement was signed. Howard checked every signature. Every initial. Every date line. Then he nodded once. We're done. I walked out of that building into late afternoon sunlight. No music. No applause. No dramatic collapse. Just traffic, heat rising from the pavement, and my own reflection in the glass doors. I sat in my car with both hands in my lap. I did not feel victorious. I felt tired, but under the exhaustion, something else was there.
Space.
For the first time in weeks, my life felt like it belonged to me again. Retractions, consequences, and the quiet rebuild. The settlement executed faster than I expected. Within 72 hours, Carter's retraction went live, pinned to the top of his profile. Not vague, not poetic, not defensive.
Precise.
Legal.
Humiliating.
I want to retract and apologize for statements I made about Elena Marlowe regarding abuse and control. These allegations were false. They were made out of anger following our breakup. Elena did not abuse me. She did not control me financially. She did not threaten or manipulate me. I created false narratives and coordinated with others to spread them. I deeply regret the harm I caused to her reputation and professional standing. This statement is being made as part of a legal settlement. I read it once, then closed the app. Not because it didn't matter, but because I had already read the truth in a dozen other formats: screenshots, bank statements, messages, videos. This was just the version the world could see. Kelsey sent me one of the private retractions Carter had to send individually. I need to correct what I told you about Elena. Those statements were false. I coordinated a campaign to damage her reputation. I'm sorry for misleading you. No dramatics. No excuses. No softening. Just facts. For the first time, Carter was saying something real. Because he had no choice. The first payment came 10 days later. $750. Right on time. I stared at the notification on my phone longer than I expected. Not because of the money, because of what it represented.
Consistency. Accountability.
A schedule he could not manipulate. A consequence he had to live with monthly. Howard sent me a short message that day. If he misses one payment, we escalate. Keep records. So I did. New folder. Simpler name.
Settlement.
Every payment logged. Date.
Amount.
Confirmation number. I treated it like everything else. Clean.
Structured.
Finished. Vanessa tried once. A LinkedIn message request. Not subtle. Not careful. I know we can't talk directly, but what you did destroyed 2 careers and a future. I hope you're satisfied. I screenshotted it. Forwarded it to Howard. Reported it. Her account was suspended within 48 hours for violating the protective order. That was the last time I heard from her. Carter stayed silent. Not because he respected the boundaries. Because he finally understood what happened when he crossed them. Weeks passed. Then months. The noise faded. The messages stopped. The unknown numbers disappeared. My phone became just a phone again. Not a warning system. Work shifted. The promotion became real. New office. Glass window. My name on the door in clean black letters. Elena Marlowe, Senior Adjuster. I remember standing there the first morning, hand on the door handle, staring at my own name like it belonged to someone else. Then I opened it. The office smelled new.
Paper.
Wood. Something faintly chemical from fresh paint. There was a desk. A chair that actually supported my back. A second chair across from it for people who needed answers. I sat down. Turned on the computer. And for the first time in a long time, my day was not about surviving. It was about building. I managed a team of 8. Different personalities. Different habits. Different ways of handling pressure. I saw pieces of myself in all of them. The version of me that used to apologize too quickly. The version that used to stay quiet. The version that used to try to fix things before they broke. I didn't tell them my story. I didn't need to. I just enforced clarity. Documentation.
Accountability.
The same rules that had saved me. Outside of work, I moved. New apartment. Different part of the city. Top floor. Quiet building. No shared history. No ghosts in the corners. The first night there, I sat on the floor with takeout containers and no furniture, looking out at a skyline that didn't include any place Carter and I had ever been together. It felt clean. Not empty. Not lonely. Clean. I started running. At first, just to exhaust the thoughts out of my head. 1 mile. Then 2. Then 3. My lungs burned. My legs protested. But every step felt like reclaiming something. 8 miles became normal. Then 10. I signed up for a half marathon without telling anyone. Not because I wanted applause. Because I wanted proof. Not for the world. For myself. That I could move forward without dragging everything behind me. I lost weight. Gained muscle. Slept deeper. Woke up without immediately checking my phone. The silence stopped feeling suspicious. It started feeling earned. I went on dates. Coffee. Dinner. Conversations that stayed light. No heavy confessions. No urgent attachments. Just normal. Men who asked questions and listened to answers. Men who didn't measure me against something I couldn't see. Nothing serious. And that was okay. Because for the first time, I wasn't trying to fill a space someone else had left. I was just living in it. The payments kept coming, month after month. $750. Right on time. Each one a quiet reminder that actions had consequences that didn't disappear when the story moved on. 18 payments passed. Then I saw him again. It was a Tuesday. Nothing special about it. I had a meeting in the morning, paperwork after, and a late lunch break I almost skipped. There was a sandwich place on the ground floor of my office building. Small.
Bright.
The kind of place where people ordered quickly and left just as fast. I stood in line, ordered something I didn't really want, paid, and turned around with my tray. And there he was.
Carter.
Sitting by the window.
Alone.
We saw each other at the same moment. Time didn't slow. It just paused. He looked different. Thinner. Not in a clean, disciplined way. In a worn-down way. His hair was pulled back carelessly. No styling. No precision. He wore a plain shirt. No brand. No statement. A retail name tag clipped to the collar. I could read it from where I stood. Carter. Just his first name. Like everything else had been stripped away. For a second, I considered leaving. Turning around. Walking out. Pretending I hadn't seen him. It would have been easy. It would have been clean. But something in me didn't want unfinished movement. So I walked over. Set my tray down across from him. Carter. He looked up. His eyes were tired. Not angry. Not sharp. Just tired. Elena. His voice was quieter than I remembered. You're in my building. This is where I work, I said. He nodded slowly. I didn't know. I just started at the store down the street last week. This place is close. I looked at him. Really looked. Not searching for guilt. Not searching for anything, really. Just observing. How's the retail job? It's work, he said. Pays what it pays. You're making the payments. I haven't missed one. Good. A pause settled between us. Not awkward. Just empty. I'm sorry, he said. I didn't react. Not because of the settlement, he added quickly. I mean, I am, but not just because of that. I actually am. I waited. I destroyed everything, he said. My job, my reputation, my friends, my relationship with my parents, all of it. Yes, I said. I know you won't forgive me. I'm not interested in that. He nodded. I figured. Another pause. I just needed you to know that I understand now. I reached into my bag and pulled out my phone. Opened the calendar. Turned it toward him. Your last payment is due in 6 months, November 15th. He looked at it. I know. After that, I said, you and I have no connection. No reason to talk. No reason to see each other. Nothing. I know. I stood up. Find a different lunch spot. He looked down at his sandwich. I will. I picked up my tray. Then, for a moment, I just stood there. Not because I had something left to say. Because I wanted to make sure I didn't. Then, I walked away. Threw my sandwich in the trash on the way out. I wasn't hungry anymore. Back in my office, I closed the door. Sat down. And waited for something.
Relief. Anger. Satisfaction.
Something. Nothing came. Just quiet. He wasn't a storm anymore. He was weather that had already passed, and I wasn't standing in it anymore. The last 6 months passed without noise. No messages. No calls. No accidental encounters. Just the rhythm Carter had been forced into. $750. On time. Every month. I stopped checking the account the moment the notification came in. Stopped watching the clock. Stopped waiting for something to go wrong. Because nothing did. That was the strangest part. After everything, the party, the lies, the threats, the court, the fallout, the ending wasn't dramatic. It was consistent,
Predictable.
quiet, the way healthy things usually are. November 15th came on a Thursday. Cold morning. Clear sky. I woke up before my alarm without thinking about why. Made coffee. Checked my phone. There it was. Deposit, $750. Final payment. For a few seconds, I just stared at the screen. Not because it felt like victory, because it felt like a door closing without sound. I opened the banking app, scrolled through the transaction history. 18 payments. Every one of them there. Every one of them proof that consequences could last longer than a moment. $18,000 total.
Complete.
I set the phone down and walked to the window. The city looked the same. Cars moving. People crossing streets. Nothing paused for endings. Nothing marked the moment. And that felt right. I went to work like any other day. Answered emails. Reviewed reports. Sat through a meeting that could have been shorter. Signed off on a claim that took 3 weeks to finalize. Normal.
Stable.
Earned. Around noon, I closed my office door, opened my laptop, and pulled up the last thing that still connected me to Carter. The settlement agreement. 9 pages. Clean formatting. Black text. Legal language that had once felt heavy and urgent and necessary. Now it just looked finished. I scrolled to the final clause. All obligations fulfilled. No outstanding balance. No remaining conditions. I didn't reread the rest. I didn't need to. I clicked delete. The system asked, "Are you sure?" I clicked yes. Then I opened the folder labeled Settlement. Payment records. Screenshots. Confirmations. Emails from Howard. I selected everything. Dragged it to trash. Emptied it. Then I opened my cloud storage. Deleted the backups. The duplicates. The archived copies. Every version of that chapter. Gone. The evidence that had once protected me. The documents that had once defined my days. The files that had turned my life into a case. I didn't need them anymore, because the truth no longer required proof. It had already done its job. I sat there for a moment, with my hands resting on the keyboard. Not thinking. Not reflecting. Just still. Then I stood up, grabbed my keys, and left the office early. The gym was half full. I put my phone in a locker. No notifications. No unfinished business. Just me and a routine I had built piece by piece. Weights.
Breath.
Movement. Control.
Afterward, I went home. Cooked dinner. Nothing complicated. Something warm. Something mine. I ate at the table by the window. No TV. No music. Just the quiet hum of a life that didn't need to be filled. At 8:17 p.m., my phone rang.
Unknown number.
I looked at it, watched it vibrate across the table. For a second, the old reflex stirred. Answer it. See who it is. Make sure it's not something important. Make sure it's not something unfinished. Then I leaned back in my chair and let it ring. And ring. And ring. Until it stopped. No voicemail. No second call. Just silence again. I picked up my fork. Took another bite. Chewed slowly. And realized something I hadn't been able to understand months ago. Closure isn't loud. It doesn't arrive with apologies that fix everything or endings that feel complete. Sometimes it's just this. A phone ringing and choosing not to answer. Carter didn't disappear. He didn't vanish into some dramatic consequence that erased him from the world. He kept existing. Working.
Paying.
Living with what he had done. Vanessa kept existing too. Last I heard, she had taken a lower-level position in a different state. No authority. No spotlight. No audience. The Monaco trip never happened. The life Carter thought he deserved never materialized. And me. I didn't win in the way stories usually frame it. I didn't walk away triumphant. I didn't stand over the ruins of his life feeling powerful. I just walked forward, kept what mattered, let go of what didn't, built something quieter, stronger, real. The next morning, I woke up early, went for a run before work, cold air in my lungs, city still waking up, feet hitting pavement in a steady rhythm, no thoughts chasing me, no voices echoing in my head, just movement.
Forward.
That was all it ever came down to. Not proving him wrong. Not making the world understand. Not rewriting what had already happened. Just continuing, step by step, without carrying him with me.